A few of the groups that I'm in at the same time. As you join, if you can say, hey, just drop me a little note. So I am here. I'm just here, like, also just making sure that I'm live okay is the first thing. And then the second thing is to just distribute this in a couple of places. And then as soon as I've done that, I am totally with you. So one moment for that. You shouldn't do things in your life like when people are looking at you. It's like the feel the pressure. Hey, who's that? Who's joined? I'm just sharing at the moment in a few groups, so I'll be with you in a sec. See it. Okay, here we go. Da 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 da. Button. I've gone too far. This is what happens when you haven't been on a live for a while. Hey, as you join, if you can just up or let me know that you're here, that would be wonderful. First, where's this going? Hey, me, South Africa. As you join, if you can give me like a thumbs up, just let me know you're here. This is live on my Facebook if you happen to be watching it anywhere else. So you want to go and jump on to Lavelle at Lavelle de Vincenzi Facebook page, and then I'll be able to share sheets with you. So as you join, give me a thumbs up. Let me know where you're from. Let me know what your challenges are. I'm going to have time at the end of this live stream where what I will be sharing is you can't. Hold on a second. I've got some headphones here. Let's see. Can the rest? Can you? Anybody else having the same problem? Hi, Michelle. Checking. People, I've heard news that my audio is working. We cannot help have this. Is it working now? I don't know. Part of me wants to switch my headphones so the ears are the other way around. Like that's gonna make a difference to you being able to. Are you hearing me okay? Can I have a thumbs up or a something if you can hear me okay? I'm looking at the chat. Worst case scenario, we're just going to go old school audio and I will ditch these. So was it just Melinda who couldn't hear? Oh, hello, hello. Good. I'm about to do stupid echoes. Hey, ladies and welcome. My name's Lavelle de Vincenzi. If you've never seen me before, I'm an international MC, moderator, and host. That's what I do for my day job. It's cutting in and out. Okay, I'm going to take these. Let's see if that works a little bit better. I think there's a problem with those headphones. So this is less ideal than I'd like it to be. Yay! But if you can hear me better, then that's precisely what I need. And it kept cutting out. So I think it's a headphone issue. So my name's Lavelle de Vincenzi. I'm an international MC, moderator, and host. And if you don't know what that is, it basically means I introduce speakers to stage. I also work with entrepreneurs, helping you to find stage, found, book, and paid is probably the best way of describing it and summarizing it. I do it because as a host and a moderator myself and a speaker, I get really annoyed more women on stages. So there is a little raging inner feminist. I'm not even going to hide it. It's real. It's in there. Not so small anymore and not quite so quiet. And so what I've learned when it comes to the marketing and sales side of finding speaking engagements and putting yourself out, typically women seem to have our own unique set of challenges with doing that. And some of it has got stuff to do with, honestly, some of it is just in here. So today, what I'm going to be talking about is the structure I use. So I'm inspired a little bit by all of the palaver that's going on at the moment in terms of the coronavirus, especially on the speaking industry. And if anybody knows why toilet paper is out of stock, I have no idea what the toilet paper rush has got to do with the coronavirus. That's like a total side note. I just, as you're here, like if you know, can you just inform me as to what causes the problem? So today what I'm going to share is the strategies I use to find speaking strategy. I'm going to give you as much detail as I can in terms of the individual steps of understanding that a strategy is like high level and all the tactics in the middle. Like I will do as much as I can in this time frame to talk. But there's a lot in the tactics, okay? I worked in sales for about 8 years, incorporating all kinds of stuff, most of which was rather quite dull and boring. But I did a structure of what it takes to sell things and the way that a conversation works quite effectively. Sales function in a business actually works, and it's what I've done myself as a speaker. Some of it I do myself, some of it is outsourced to a team, so I do know how to offer those. So let's just jump straight into it. Oh, it'd be really cool to know who here is speaking. Like, let me know if you're speaking already or if you're looking to get into speaking, where you are in your business. So strategy number one, or first step in the strategy, is to a profitable profitable speaker niche. And what I mean by that is often what I see happen is that speakers have a topic you want to talk about, and that's great. And then you come into this problem where it's like, but people don't pay. And the truth is, it's not that pay, it's that you kind of need to understand how your fits into, aligns with a group of people who will pay for that expertise. Example, a tangible example actually of a friend of mine actually a few days ago, just perfect timing. And she, what she does is she talks about sleep, okay? And about sleep as a topic. This isn't about changing a topic, it's about finding the profitable, so finding who like pays so that you can have the right slant, right? And so as a sleep speaker, speaking in corporate organizations, if you're speaking, going through the wellness route, right? The HR, etc. That's a sort of typical place that you think. They do not have as much money to invest. They just don't. Their budgets aren't that big. They don't have as much, so they're kind of looking for kind of more tailored kind of generic products. Whereas if you can find a way to take the same topic of sleep, not to change for your expertise or talk about something different, but apply it to somebody who does money. So senior executives training budgets, big. General company training budget, much smaller. Find a way that you have a program that you can align to the problems and pains of the organization. Then you can take the same topic, like a step, or revenue from it. And it's something that I see that just aren't thinking about. It's like so insular that you're kind of like, this is what I talk about, this is about it too, but you need to get a little bit more creative. You're not going to change somebody's business model. You have events that pay, you have events that you pay to play, you have events that have budget, and they each have things that they're looking for, different problems, different angles that are going to work, different audience profiles. And if you selected that first, like clearly selected that, and then made sure that your product aligned to it, then it's like kind of looking for a needle in a haystack. You're probably going to find it a lot tougher to find speaking gigs. Anything else in terms of building, reaching out to people, you're looking for X when they've only got Y. You've got to kind of find where those two things match. I started hosting. I used to reach out to people for award ceremonies. I don't anymore because I got to understand that how that industry works. It's just hard work. Like, it's harder for me to get booked in that space. I know exactly who books and pays for me. What that event profile looks like, I can look at the website and like within a second just be like, yeah, they're gonna have budget and they're gonna want to pay me. Very, very first step, like the first step process in my strategy for finding speaking gigs is I get really clear on the niche that's gonna be profitable, that's gonna work. And my pitch and everything else after that is lining those two things up together so that I have a workable niche, and it's like, hey, and my thing that I'm offering, my product, what I'm talking about, the two things make. But if you've got a product over here and the people who are over here, this is not going to get you money. It's just not. And it's like a step people miss. Like, it's just, right? So it takes a moment. It means a few things. You need to have a clear understanding of the industry. It means you need to have a clear understanding of phase. And it means that you need to have a degree of flexibility with having to tweak. I'm not telling you to change your sector, right? So let's go back to the sleep coach. She's not jumping out about being different. What she's done is she's gone, this is what I talk about, pockets, right? They still have that problem. This talk is going to need to, shimmy a little bit so that I can now speak more to those people. It's easy to close any deal, whether it's for a speaking engagement or whether it's for like one-to-one. If you understand their problems and you understand where they're coming from, then you'll pitch appropriately. A videographer doing weddings has a different conversation with a videographer doing events. And so a speaker will have different conversations with different sectors of the industry, and therefore your talk or your product might be different to be able to match that. Making sense so far? Is that cool? Like, give me a thumbs up, super clear on like, this is my niche, I got it. And if you're kind of like, interesting, do a little bit of thinking, and like a thumbs down or like a frowny face or something like that. Like, make sure that this is working, like that you get it, right? So first thing is profitable niche. The second thing is build a prospect list, right? And the reason I build a list rather than just kind of being like, ta-da, let me just go out and like start finding stuff. There's a process around building a list, right? So the first thing you need to understand is who your niche is, so you know what you're looking for. Because if you don't know what you're looking for, and it's not just about X topic for who, right? So we've already spoken about that. So as soon as you know who you're, right, this is the group I know I'm for, then you build a list on that. But we do list building this is quite important, especially for women, because we have a tendency to have a scatterbrain. I'm saying this because there's a program I run called the Fine Speaking Geeks Incubator. I did this process as a person, and I thought it was just me, but apparently it's, it's a small sampling. But we have this tendency, it's our ability to multitask. It doesn't serve us when it comes to being the list. So this process here takes a lot of discipline, focus to do it effectively. So the natural tendency when it's list building is to go onto Google and do like a general like let's look at everything. Let's see, type something in, it looks interesting, and you're like, woohoo! And then you get on, literally you kind of, let's just call it like, you just get lost down where I'm like, it's like when you get on YouTube for 10 minutes and then like 45 minutes or 3 hours later, you're still there. That's what happens to most women with engagements. Because the thing about prospecting is when you're right at and you don't know much about somebody, you can't spend a lot of time working. So in a sales team, so I told you I worked in sales for years. In a sales team, the team in terms of new business is split into two sections typically. You have a lead generation team and you have like your sales team. So the lead generation team or new business team. So the lead team's only job is to find new leads, like to find and qualify leads to hand over to the person who's then going to go off and close the lead, right? Now, both of these people, the people in lead generation and the people in sales, are paid on results, right? And often a lead will be paid on a qualified lead, right? But if you so they want to make sure, it takes a lot of this list. So they want to make sure that every person is fully qualified. But if you qualify things out because you spent ages digging into it, let me tell you what's actually happened. Assumption, right? Because you've looked at it and then you've assumed, oh God, it's so much bigger than me. I'm not ready yet. Oh, it doesn't look like they pay. I don't know that they really want me, or whatever the your head. But basically, you don't know if they pay, if they don't, if they want you, if they don't want you. It's all a bunch of stuff that goes on in here. And rather than rather than put it on a list and come back to it later and ask the question, we kind of opt ourselves, right? So the key thing when it comes to list building is to get focused on each of the different processes. The point is to build a list really quickly initially, and as you walk through the process, you qualify based on a dialogue, not based on assumption. Now, there are some obvious things, right? Okay, like if you are in marketing and work with people in financial services, and this is a pure, scientific event, and it's just not a relevant audience. So there's some obvious things like that. But avoid as much as possible, like qualifying stuff out or spending ages on a page making assumptions. So list building gets split into a few different phases. I told you I'd do my best to put some tactical stuff in here, keep it as high level as possible because there's a lot, there's a lot. So the first thing is that when you know what you're looking for, you want to find terms that are going to make it easy, right? And this means being very clear on what type of event. So for example, women, here's a classic one. There is no such thing as a female empowerment event. Like there are no organizers who are running the female empowerment. There are organizers that are running events for women in tech, events for women in finance, business, and they have a underlying current of female. It's not what they're selling, right? So often, as one of the big pitfalls I see people fall into when they're looking for gigs is the terms that they are using normally because they're in the first step, like they haven't actually really thought of their niche. So they're looking for people who, you know, they're talking about something like quite specific and then for an event on that specific thing. So they're talking about female empowerment or they're talking about finding yourself or something like that. And then they're looking for an event about that. And if you've identified this, because you'll probably get that that's not what it is. It's something higher than that in which your topic and your theme slots into, right? So when you know what your audience is, it's managers, it's women in business, it's men in business, you know, technologists, right? It's creative innovators, right? Then to go, well, who would have those? Oh, it's going to be creative or design conferences. It's the startup summits, or scale up businesses, right? So the first thing is to find terms where you can get really clear on what terms actually work for your niche. Then when you go to splitting the search out, because we have a tendency to go down wormholes. So when you're building your prospect list, initially you split it into two big phases. The first phase, right? Just don't get too much information. You got your niche, you know what you're looking for. Dive in there and you take no more than like 3 to 5 seconds on each website. Period, full stop. And any longer than that, you're gonna be clicking around, getting interested, watching this video and then watching another video, and then you'll see a speaker, so then you go off on a tangent to go speaker and then come back. And the more you do this, the more you'll talk yourself out of the gig, more than likely, right? So you just capture a handful of pieces of information. What you want to capture is the name of the URL you use to search, and then the third and final thing you want to capture is used to search for it. So you can get to know, okay, these terms like really help me find events and these ones are really rubbish. So it just makes it a lot easier. I'm searching, what I do is I set myself a target. I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit here until I get to, or in the case of me in September of 2019, it was 1,000 events. 2018, September 2018 events, just like consistently until I get to that point. And the reason for this, when you move to the next step of starting to contact organizers, you can focus on the conversation because you're now not like worrying about all of the details, right? So you can kind of just be in one headspace of let me find the events, and then let me find the contact details. That's how I build a list. That's my stage 2, like build an actual list of organizers. Like let me put some structure to this thing. So I figure out my niche. Number 2, I build a list. Like here are my list of organizers, and I do that in a really and systemized way, right? So I'm not going down wormholes. It's this is how many organizers I want to contact, and until I get that number of organizers on my list, then once I've got them on the list, then I get the contact, and now I've got, I don't know why I'm just grabbing any old sheet of paper. Now I've got my magical list, right? Like here's my like list of organizers that I want to contact, right? So that is typically the beginning part of what the lead generation person in a sales organization would do. The next thing is to systematically contact them. Now, at this point, we process as simple as possible because there's one thing you have to remember. You're on the Tinterweb, or you've searched social media because you can do that with hashtags, right? You know, you've
you've asked people within your network. That's another way. Like you got a list of stuff. But if you're talking about a cold, right? You just found a list of people, and then you found a list of email addresses. But rule 101 of sales, you don't need somebody talking to the person who could actually pay. So you don't even know if the event still exists, pay, if they don't pay, etc., etc., right? So the first email we send out, so we're sending a really open email just to figure out who we're speaking to and find out like who is the person who hires or who books speakers for an event. That's it. Literally, that's literally all you need to know. That's it, right? No pitch, because ain't nobody like to receive like two freaking booklet of stuff, and it's a waste of time to write the whole, you take all your time and you write all that stuff, and then you get it like perfect and you send it out, and it turns out that it's the wrong person or the freaking email bounces, so you now got to find a new email address or whatever it is. Right? Think of it like if you were going to a networking event. You wouldn't walk into a network and say, "Hi, I'm a speaker, and this is the topic that I speak. I'm really good. Would you like to book me?" Like, you wouldn't do that. You'd say, "Hi," and then they'd say, "What do you do?" And you say, "I speak." And they'd say, "Oh, funny, I've got an event. Cool. Should I tell you a little bit more about it?" Or whatever, right? In the case of this question, literally the first email we're sending out, like that I send out systematically, is saying, like, who hires speakers? Like, who's the person? I saw the event. It looks really cool. Can you hire? Now, if it's the person who I happen to found the email address for, which was today, yeah, I hire. And can you tell me some more? And, and then the conversation kind of naturally happens from there, right? You write a big old pitch, because let's face it, ain't none of y'all like receiving that. Let's be honest. It's that email. We have it on LinkedIn. We have people just contact us out of the blue and just send us some story of stuff like, I didn't ask for it, I didn't need it, and I'm busy. The reason why we do this is because people's in so much stuff in it, right? There's just a lot coming into an inbox. And if you write a long email, create work for you. Like, they gotta take time out of their schedule to read all that shit, right? It's work, right? So the best thing to do is keep it short. One sentence with one question, like, it's easy for somebody to respond to that, and trust most of them may respond to it. So don't consume your energy all of this stuff that's perfectly crafted when you don't even know if they're going to be interested. But have a really systemized way of connecting with people. I've kind of given you an overview as exactly how I contact people, my recommendations around it. But the main thing is that it's systematic, right? That you have process for doing it, that you have that you build it into your, that you build it into what you do as a business, right? And having a business, you need a decent sales function, a decent marketing function. Otherwise, where the frick are the clients coming from? Like, you need a way of generating sales and a system for doing it. And you need some way of doing the same from a marketing perspective, for making people aware of what you're up to. And in this sort of day and age, like, sometimes you need to knock on the door and ask the questions. So working out a way to make this very systemized and keep it as high level and simple at the front end, you can then tailor it when it's worth tailoring it, because you've got somebody who's actually hearing more about you, and there's an agreed dialogue, right? Other than kind of being that person, this is when you end up with the irritating salesperson, right? Being that person who's like shoving stuff down your throat. So if you've got any questions or comments on any of this stuff, then please just drop them in. I am looking, it's like, this is totes open for questions. Or if you want some more clarification on any of these steps, let me know. But step 3 is to systematically organize it. So you got a niche and you built a list. I've spoken about how that works. And then you systematically contact. Now, step 4, or part 4, and this is probably the biggest. I feel like I'm gonna have to take a moment here, girls. This is like the biggest, like the biggest. And it's probably where most people fall down the most, because there's almost this notion that we need to do lots. Like, we need to have lots of stuff coming to us, and it's rubbish. Where most deals are lost is in the follow-up. There's no systemized way of keeping on top of who you were talking. So basically, you send an email or a bunch of emails that you have like a great day where you're like, oh, and you like send out like 50 emails. Woohoo! And then you do nothing. That's not a sales function. It's not a, you're not going to build momentum from 50 emails once and then nothing. It's kind of like look, if you go to the gym and like I haven't found that, right? You work out really hard, like just once, just like like and like really work out hard. You're not going to be fit for life. Okay. And it's kind of the same. Just because you found like a brilliant list, like 100, 200 organizers, it doesn't really matter, and you message all of them once, and then you do nothing else, that is not viable, sustainable business. It just won't. And so it's not about these huge volumes. I working with clients, it's consistency over volume, because once you're consistent, scale it up with the volume. Like the systems are easy, like it's all set up, it's systemized, it's easy to do. But the main thing is making sure mechanism for following up with those comments, for keeping up to date. And it's not in here. Like this isn't where it goes. If you're relying upon, like if you're serious, and I do mean like if you're actually serious about speaking engagements, not sitting down, I'm open for business, but really serious about going out actively finding speaking engagements, you're going to be generating a lot of conversations. And those conversations cannot be effectively managed in a spreadsheet. And I'm telling you this for two reasons. One, and it don't work. It's very confusing. And two, I worked in sales teams. Organizations are not using spreadsheets in order to manage their teams. They're using tools, they're using CRM systems, and specific sales CRM systems, which are not, I repeat, not the same as marketing CRM systems. The marketing team has one CRM system. The sales team has a different CRM system. They do different things. So the marketing team's CRM system is designed to send bulk communications out to a group of people. This team's CRM system is designed to help them monitor a bill throughout the sales process. So what we're looking at is, the specific email that was sent and the last quote and the telephone call that was last made, and being able to see the whole view of 6 different people conversation and where they are and what their roles are and what their relative blah, 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 blah. They're different systems. Okay. So for many people I'm meeting, and I'm telling them you're going to need some sort of CRM in order to manage effectively making sure that you have that follow-up process consistent. They'll say to me, I've got a CRM, I've got like MailChimp. No, boom. No. Mm-mm. This is not a system that uses sales, okay? It's not designed to do it. It's a completely different function, and it's another training, okay? But what you want is a CRM system designed for sales, not designed for marketing. That's the main thing. And the reason why you're wanting these tools is because the number one thing you're going to have to do with cold outreach is follow up. And the reason for this is, look, I know there'll be some people listening to this who are thinking, well, I don't want to be that person tagging and following up, blah, blah, blah. But we've all also been that person who's been quite reminded us of something. And the other thing is we prioritize on relationship typically and a deadline, like something that's important to us. And at the moment that you're email cold, you're a nobody in a box. Okay? Like you're fighting for some sort of level of attention. And albeit that the email, you've simplified it because you've not sent the big long pitch email. If you just join and understand why you do not send a pitch email when you're reaching out cold. But what you're doing is you're going to need to keep reminding them, right? And quite consistently, to be honest, when I'm reaching out cold, I send 5 emails, 1 email and 4 reminders, every person I'm reaching out cold to. Now, if I was doing this manual, if I were doing this manually via a spreadsheet, or I didn't have tools and systems and structures, I wouldn't be able to scale it up. The challenge with scaling up outreach is you're now 50, 100, 200, 500 conversations going on simultaneously. Cannot be managed effectively in your mind by a spreadsheet. Your sign speaking engagement, a robust sales infrastructure. This isn't expensive, right? A huge amount of money to get something up. Some are actually entirely free, but it does mean that you have to have an assistant. And if it's not there, you will never be able to scale it. Full stop, period, and visible. That's when you lose a gig. That's when you kind of like, I went to a network, and then you lost the card, or you didn't send the email, or. Right? There is no point in doing any of this stuff that I've mentioned up until now if you are not prepared through. Right? And the follow through, it's your responsibility to send a few reminder emails and see if they come back to you. I have a gig that I'm doing. I have one gig in particular that I got booked, and they responded to my 5th reminder email. 5th! I sent 5 freaking emails before they even answered me, right? So if there's no chance in hell I'm going to be there. They're busy people with other things going on. You're simply not their priority. That's it. Like, don't take it personally. That's a great sales, somebody who's serious about actively reaching out. It's their responsibility to continue to do that outreach. So in terms of like the 4th stage, for me, when I'm doing speaking engagements, is the systematic follow-up and follow-through. And myself up for success with those sorts of things. It's having the right systems in place. It's having, it's starting small. So I'll tell you how I went, and then because this might help you. Like, I work in, and they kind of want to like, how many organizers can I contact? So I told in September of 2018, I built this list of like about 1,000 organizers. I was like, bam, I'm done, right? Fabulous. It was all fabulous, and I was like, oh, this is great. I'm just going to scale up. So I was sending like 50 emails just out to people, like email. I tell you what, I burnt because I did not have the capacity, the infrastructure, the setup, the to deal with incoming comms. Just did not. And so what would happen is I'd coming in, and it would freaking frazzle me. Like, I'd wake up, there'd be 3 emails. Can I have your exact bio? Can you send me to your website? I had, and some of it I didn't have, and I'd just be like a freaking rabbit in headlights, like, oh shit. Okay? It's not about volume, right? Systematic and consistent. You're better off contacting 5 organizers for a year consistently than you are to do 100 in January, contact anybody else, or do any follow-up or anything for the rest of the year. Okay? It is not about, I do not teach like fast win, blah, blah rules. It works. It's like, it's what I'm scaling up at the moment because coronavirus is left, right, and center. I'm touching wood. None of mine have been cancelled yet, but I am touching wood. But it's also just important to remember that as speakers, if we are really building a speaking business and we really truly this on as an income stream that we want to honor, then we need to do something about it. It's like saying I'm a coach. I'm not reaching out or doing any marketing or any sales activities or anything, right? So, and I teach it effectively, all of these steps in a great amount of detail, quite personally, intimate. I don't like the word intimate. Untoward is going on, but it's like a small group incubator. It's a 8-week incubator. It's called the Fine Speaking Gigs Incubator. Fabulous incubator, but it's fabulous. It's a how do I put this best? It's not a training course, right? It's not something you come on to be trained how to learn how to do this stuff, because I can much of what I teach is available like externally. This is a get shit done setup, right? So my one goal on the Fine Speaking Gigs is to set women up with sales systems in their business to find speaking engagement. One thing I absolutely guarantee you is that by the end of this incubator, you will not able to say that you don't know how to find a speaking engagement and you don't know how to sell into them. Like, it's just not. If you don't get the results, it's because you didn't commit to the process. And trust me, I am doing everything. And over that 8 weeks, it's structured in such a way that this is about building you to build that momentum to scale up. So this is, it doesn't matter whether you're brand new to speaking, you've been speaking for years. I don't teach you to say, right? So this is not where you come if you aren't comfortable with doing a topic for yourself. If you don't know how to write a talk, you do not need a signature talk to do this, right? Just to be clear, but you do need with creating a signature talk, right? And the truth of the matter is, a signature talk is good when you get out there and do it a few times. So if you genuinely are, it's paid gigs, unpaid gigs, gigs to grow your business, the incubator is exactly the same, just we define your niche at the beginning. So it's really what you're looking for. And then it just means your list will be different from somebody else's list. So sometimes I have people who will look for engagements. Other people are, look, I'm new and I just want to find so I can build my muscles. Doesn't matter. You're just looking in different places, using different search terms. Like, that's why we start with the niche, because everything else is built off the back of that. The second thing I get asked a lot, oh, I think it's because we're women. We like to do a lot of stuff, right? So everything. And it's like, you know, now isn't going to be a good time. Like, I don't have the capacity. Here's what I need you to think about if you're telling me you don't have the capacity to find speaking engagements, but being a speaker is really important. Like, I just want you to hear those words out loud. The other thing is, you're probably always going to be busy, my gorgeous, because if you're anything like most of us, we're just always going to do a lot on. This incubator is not designed. I am naturally quite overwhelmed as a character, so I had to design something for me that wouldn't have that, like, thing, right? So I'm not here saying you have to do all of these sorts of things. You're going to need a couple of hours a week, you know, for the call and then to do some follow-up. You can commit to do 50 contact 50 organizers a week or 5 organizers a week. I don't care, do it, right? I don't care whether it's 50 or whether it's 5, so long as you do it and for you to support that. Here's the other thing. If you're looking to outsource your this, right? If you have a virtual assistant where you're looking at an assistant on, this is brilliant, right? Because the way I work, my assistant does do the stuff afterwards. That's fun, right? Like the act kind of cool interactive dialogue. So the process is totally designed for you to work with an assistant. To bring your assistant along, then let me know when we get on I'll tell you how you can, like, find out more about it, etc. The fee is slightly different if your assistant is, you know, because it's 2 of you rather than 1, but it's not hugely different. So you can totally do that. You still need to be though, because the first part, like I said, my strategy starts with niching, right? So if you aren't involved with helping with the niching side of things, imagine what kind of we're going to find. Like, you can't complain about bad gigs you haven't niched. And this is the other reason why most times when people outsource finding, because what they say is find me opportunities for stages, and then the stages come back and they're like, there's a, I know, been there, done that. Most of this stuff is actually built on my own dum-dum. So I am speaking from bitter experience. Like, I had an assistant and I said, go find me speaking. And I would find that like 80% of them just were not relevant. But she did what I asked her to do. Speaking engagements. Just there's speaking engagements, and then there's speaking engagements that are perfect for me. The ones she found were generally not perfect for me. Because I hadn't done it myself and I hadn't done the thinking before, I couldn't advise. So you can bring in a that doesn't take you out of the process. And the truth is, you learn so much more about the individual based on having these sorts of conversations, right? So that's the other thing to share. Any questions at all? Oh, I'll tell you how to find the incubator, but I just wanted to tell it, like, check in if you can watch the live from the top, like, in terms of what the process is, because I did share like a lot more than I did today. It was kind of deep. So if you're interested in the Find Speaking Gigs Incubator, at the moment, it's early bird, which means there's like total extra bonuses, including a bonus session with me whereby I will spend an hour with you, and I will go through your online profiles. You vet them to get them like up to speed before we kick off. And because I want to make sure that as many of the leads that you're contacting are connected to these sessions, so I can help you to like kind of go, okay, just tweak these sorts of things, and you'll just be looking so much more sparkly. So to find out more about the incubator, I will drop it in the comments. I'll probably, if I can update it somewhere, if you're watching somewhere, then I will drop it in. I'm going to have to go back and find this, but I will drop the link in as well. It's basically bit.ly/speaking incubator. I'll drop it as well, but that's the link that you want to go to. You'll find it all over my page. If you have any call or there's something you just want to check in, then come and check in with me directly. Early bird ends, I want to say Friday. I can't remember. Do go and check. And in order to secure the early bird bonuses, you don't have to pay anything initially, but you buy by midnight GMT. That's in the UK. You don't have to do the conversion. The structure of the incubator week. The first part of the incubator is focused on finding your profitable niche. That's it. That's only diving really deep so that we can get really clear on who you're for and where you should be pitching. There's 2 days to do pretty much to set up all the rest of the steps in the strategy, right? So you should do that digitally. That's all online. 2 days in person, which is to build your list and systematically contact and start like setting up some of your follow-up processes. That's 2 days in person. And then we have 6 weeks of encounters. By that point, you've literally got everything that you need, but you kind of have to work it. And the emotional often that comes up that you weren't expecting, which may get impressed. And it might just be a matter of you also figuring out the best way that you work. There isn't a one size fits all. The process is consistent. The application of the process may change the same day every week that they do this. Some people will have, different structures available. There's a Facebook group that's also specifically set up for this. So you've got that structure, but you've also got the ability to jump in and ask any questions. And the reason so that we can work together to move things forward. So over that 6 weeks, my 8 years of sales experience and getting booked as a speaker myself, like I'm not the thing I use, it's exactly the process I use for me to get myself booked into cold. It's like when I'm going in cold. So this isn't theory, it shifts. And as I learn more, I've seen so many of the potholes myself, either gone down them or I've watched my clients go down those. So when I tell you like the process works really inefficiently, it's because it's really set up based on experience, because I know what works, what doesn't work, and ultimately it comes down to having a structure that allows you to be sustainable with your engagements. So do nip over there and have a look at that. I haven't done one of these trainings for a while. I'll probably do another one in the sun. It's been fun for me anyway. So whether you're watching the replay or you will I'm going to hang here for another minute or so. So if you do have any questions, do drop them in and ask them. You can PM me as well if you prefer to ask something in a private forum. If you're thinking it, somebody else is probably thinking it too. Ooh, start date. It starts on the 15th. It's a bit of time between now and then for you to join. What else do I need to tell you? I think that's really it. It starts on the 15th of April. It runs for 2 months. £1,000 right now, and there are payment plans available if that works for you. If you're interested, I always say to people there's 2 conversations. 1, whether you're interested, and 2, how the payment structure works. Let's have the first one first to see whether or not it's a fit. And don't like just discount. Like if it's something that's really been calling to you, then let's have that. Do not make decisions based on assumptions, because that's normally not helpful for you. Like normally later on you're kind of like, the number of times people everything, and then I've explained like, that's quite different to what I thought. So do ask. Do ask. So it doesn't look like there's any questions at the moment. This has been fun. My name's Lavalda Vincenzi. If you're not already stumbled across me today and you're like, oh, this is cool, then yeah, stay in touch. Like the page. If you want to stay in touch as well, I also have a Facebook group. It's called World Class Female Speakers, completely free. So do pop over there as well. The next live I do will probably be in the group rather than on my page. So you do want to get into the group for that so you can find out a little bit more. And until next time, go out there, get yourself on those stages, and please, make up your mind. Looking for speaking engagements, or are you open for speaking engagements? And they are two different things. Looking for speaking engagements is active, and open to speaking engagements is passive. And right now, the person who tends to get more engagements is the one who's much more proactive and the one who's kind of being passive about it. So make your decision. If it's not your priority right now, that's fine, but at least be conscious about it. But please don't tell me you're looking for speaking. It just means you're open for business, and there's nothing wrong with that. But let's just be real with ourselves about where we are with it. More stages. I do this work because I am absolutely passionate about women gracing. Specifically, that's what it's all about for me. And so I want to see how it really works and what's really available. So it's been grand speaking to you. Until next time, wonderful rest of your day. Ciao.